How you doing, guys? Big Matt Danskell here again today, back once again with another episode of my Warhammer 40k Conquest series for you. I feel like something's missing. Where's my magazine? For the past couple of weeks when I've gone to get my copy of Conquest from the newsagents, it's been on display in the window. And it's ordered in specifically for me, so they're not supposed to do that. And then yesterday, last week it came in on the Tuesday, so I went in yesterday in the hope that I'd get it a day early, and they didn't have it. And then I went back in today, which is the day of release, and they still didn't have it. So I'm wondering if they've put it on display and someone's bought it before I managed to get to it. I was really excited for this issue, so hopefully that's not the case, and hopefully I'll go tomorrow and it'll be there waiting for me. But we'll wait and see. Anyway, how am I going to fill this video without any magazine? Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk you through a bit of converting work I did on some of the Poxwalkers. This is the standard pose of one of the Poxwalkers, and this is a new pose. I'm going to go into the other room and I'll show you so you can get a nice close look, and then I can just talk you through it basically. So guys, what you can see in front of you now is 12 Poxwalkers. I've put them arranged like this because some you'll see are unpainted and some are painted, and over here as well. Well, not painted, but they're base coated. There is one painted though. Basically what I've done is some conversion work to try and make them a little bit different from each other, because these are the Poxwalkers that I think you got in issue 4. You got some in, and I think it was issue 8 or 9, something like that. I can't remember. I think it was issue 9. It was a repeat sprue of Poxwalkers. And people were saying, you know, they don't want repeats this early. They expected to, you know, they were sort of, some people were complaining, basically. That's what I'm getting at here. So I've just done a few simple conversions that you can do yourself without having to spend too much money on tools or anything like that. All you need is a saw. You could get away probably with something like a bread knife or a steak knife, but be very careful when using that. So yeah, you need a saw. A little razor saw is what I used. I cannot see it at the moment, although I had it. It must be in the other room where I've actually done the work. So it's a razor saw. Basically, it's a hobby saw. It's a really thin saw. You don't have to have one of them. There are other really thin saws out there, but all that does, it cuts through the material without taking too much material away. And because it's a small, you know, a 28mm miniature, you don't want to take too much of the material away, otherwise you're sort of transforming the height of the model and all kinds of issues like that. But anyway, these are simple conversions I've done. For some of them I've used the saw, but for a lot of them I've just done a head swap or something like that. So let's take a look at the first pair. Now, these are basically the same miniature. What I've done here is an arm swap. So I used the saw to cut the arm off of this fella, the arm holding the weapon there. A bit of rebar with a couple of bolts on it or whatever it is. So I chopped that arm off and I replaced it with this arm off one of the other Poxwalkers. And now you can barely tell that that's from another Poxwalker. We'll spin it round. There's a bit more evidence at the back where you can see the join there. But all you need to do really is fill that in with a bit of modelling putty, a bit of green stuff. Just try and get it to remain focused by keeping my hand there. So a bit of modelling putty, a bit of green stuff to fill that hard line in there. There were a lot of, not imperfections, but pustules and stuff like that on these Death Guard miniatures. So you can get away with things like just using plastic glue to smooth the line. But yeah, I think that's quite a nice little conversion. He's got a swollen sort of tentacle. His arm's turned into a tentacle on that side, and then he's got a swollen arm on this side now. So I quite like that one myself. And it also, let's move on to that one, the one that matches with. So this is the arm I've swapped it from basically. So that arm is now on this miniature, on the one I've just shown you. And vice versa. Well, not vice versa, but this wrench here doesn't actually belong to this model. So now it looks like he's got two weapons. And if you look again on the back, you can see there's a bit of evidence there from where I've used a saw to cut the arm off and replace it. But again, if you want to smooth that over slightly, you can just use a bit of green stuff, bit of modelling putty, That's all you need. And if you've never used modelling putty before, I'd just say it's basically like blue tack or clay or Play-Doh, that kind of thing. And it's really simple to use, and it's a lot easier than some people. Some people are a bit apprehensive of using it, but it's a lot easier than some people think. Let's take a look at this fella now. So this fella is the original miniature, and all I've done is swap his torso, his legs. It looks a bit strange, like he's completely top heavy now. He's got big fat belly and pretty slim legs, really. It looks a bit strange, but I kind of like the way it makes him lean back. It gives you that real shambling sort of Poxwalker feel. You'll notice though, there's a bit of you can see a bit of the table through there. I am going to fill that in with green stuff. And then around this side as well, it looks a bit unnatural at the back here. So what I'm going to do is get a bit more green stuff and go over this sort of, this little pocket, or I can't think what to call that, little case, this little case that he's got on his belt. So it looks a bit strange, this one, but I kind of like that because it's like just the top half of his body has become bloated with this disease and the bottom hasn't. And it also, because he's leaning back, it gives you a real shambling feel. And if you put these two miniatures side by side, you can see just how different they are now. Just from a leg swap, because one's leaning forward and one's sort of wobbling backwards. And I really like that myself. It just gives you that little bit of variety. Let's see if I can find the miniatures that these were swapped with. Here they are. Here they are. So, yeah, these ones, he's got a big gap in there where his belly was. He's got like fat legs now. Like his legs are more bloated, and he's got a weird crotch grabbing pose there, so I might call this one Michael Jackson. He's very happy as well. And it just gives you that different look to the miniature again, because obviously when he's painted up as well, I'm going to do these pants in maybe a utility orange or Death Guard green maybe. It'll give you a completely different look to this miniature here, which is all fleshy. Let's take a look at these guys now. This one is a really simple one, it's just a head swap basically. So I've gone for the gas mask head on this one. I've cut it off where there's a bit of slime coming out at the bottom. And this is obviously the original miniature, so it just gives you that different look. His face is going to be sort of flesh coloured or maybe a bit green or something like that. And then his face is going to be completely different, like a brownish grey gas mask maybe with this tube coming out of it. And then these miniatures down here are the ones I swapped the heads on. The ones I swapped the heads for, really. So this is the head that was on this miniature. So this is the original miniature, and then this is the head on this model, basically. You'll notice, though, around his axe here, his fire axe or whatever it is, he's got this sort of slime sort of stuff, which is coming out of the gas mask on this miniature. What I will have to do is go in and sort of scrape that off with my knife. It's simple enough to scrape plastic off. The plastic's not that hard, so you can just scrape it off bit by bit if you want, or you can take big chunks off with your clippers. And talking of scraping miniatures off, I'll just show you this while I'm here as well. Something else to look at. So this is the Lieutenant Calcius miniature. What I've done, I've scraped all the Ultramarine symbols off him. It's nice and simple. So we had the hilt of the sword was an Ultramarine symbol. I basically chopped the tops of the U off on the hilt of the sword there. There was one here which is kind of a bit messy, this one, so I might have to go in there with some green stuff and make it look a bit more ornate or something. And then this one on the base of the hilt, the base tip of the scabbard there. And then you'll notice here on the shoulder pad I've got the Imperial Fist symbol. There was an Ultramarine symbol on there. All I did was scrape it off. I left the sort of laurel wreath there and just place the Imperial Fist symbol above it. I give him a helmeted head because the head looks very Roman, and Romans are typically associated with Ultramarines, or Ultramarines are associated with Romans rather. Where else did he have a symbol? He had one on his knee which I've taken off. There was one on this purity seal, or oath of moment, whatever that is. And there was one on the back of the thingy here, on the back of the power pack. And on the chain here of this oath of moment, there was one on there just on the top. So I just clipped that off with the clippers, and then it's nice and simple. That's it. So that was really easy, a lot easier than I was anticipating. I was a bit hesitant going in, but I'm really satisfied with that. Once it's painted up, you won't even be able to notice, really, I don't think. But there we go. That's that. So just some nice simple conversions for you. For those people that think, you know, they don't like the idea of getting repeat miniatures, I plan on doing the same with the Plague Marines. They're still on sprue at the moment, the repeats of these. But all I'll do with these is just some head swaps and stuff, basically. I've even got some spare heads from Space Marine Heroes boxes, so I might use a bare head from that on one of these guys and nurgle it up a bit. And just a few arms, weapon swaps, that kind of thing, to make these guys a bit more unique from the repeats that I build of them. I'll leave it there for now, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. I think it's nice to do a slightly different video from what I normally give you with my Conquest review, although I will, as soon as I get my hands on the latest issue of Conquest, I'll get a review up for you. But unfortunately, like I said, I've not managed to get it yet. Hopefully soon, hopefully tomorrow. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.